Welcome everybody to this flight review of the Nhadrian Mod for the Carenado Cessna 152. We are at Nicelli airport in Venice, Italy, and we will do a short trip to Trieste airport, which is more or less half an hour flight from here. As you may see, we are inside the hangar, and the airplane is completely different from the original Carenado Cessna 152. We are going to prepare it to the flight, and first thing, okay, we are inside the hangar. Remove the pilot cover. We'll go inside the cockpit and check for all the things we need to start the flight. Okay, we are now inside the cockpit, and the first thing to check is that we are legal to fly. So we need the pilot's operating handbook, the aircraft certificate, the registration certificate, and the airworthiness certificate. They have included a nice floating livery information, which can serve us as the airworthiness certificate. And you have the aircraft specification sheet with all the information you need, so it's great because it's handy. You can put it there, and you also have the checklist, the normal checklist and the emergency procedures. And it is floating, so you can move it wherever you want. Then for the pilot's operating handbook, you can put it inside the AV tab folder, and we are going to check for the iPad's battery, which is 94%, should be okay for our flight. Then okay, we'll proceed with the pre-flight cabin. So required documents is checked, obstacle time, as you may see, this airplane is, or the engine is brand new. 1 hour only. We can proceed to remove the control lock, and the ignition key is here at dash. We can remove this one also, and okay, all the circuit breakers are operative. Okay. If you are willing to simulate emergencies, so this simulation is great, this mod. Then you have the primary is locked. We can put on the master switch. We don't have any fuel, so we have to take it into consideration for the fuel calculations to refuel the aircraft then, and we'll put the flaps down to the pre-flight checks and the walkaround. All the lights are off, and we will turn off the battery. The fuel shut-off valve is here, down, and it is off. It is now operative. In the original Carenado Cessna 152 it was not, so they have modified it, and nothing. They have included the loose articles. I cannot tie up them, but it is a simulation, so it should be okay for us. Can put this here, and nothing. See you then for to tow the plane outside the hangar and proceed with the walkaround. So we are back, and before we tow the airplane outside of the hangar, we have to make sure that the parking brake is released, and now it's released. And I have made some X camera presets, so I can navigate with ease between inside and outside of the aircraft. We can close the engine cowling, close the door, connect the tow bar, and we are good to go. Make sure that we clear the hangar door without problems. And this is one of those features that it is great to have for realism, but I don't think you will be using it so much because it's time consuming. But it's great for realism and also for to tow the plane from one part of the apron to another parking or wherever you want to move the plane. I'm towing the plane outside so we can do a proper walkaround. So inside the hangar is not we don't have enough light to see everything as in real life, unless you are in an airline MRO with great lighting to check for everything. So now it's okay. We can remove the tow bar and we will see each other for the walkaround. Let's go for the walkaround. Check that we have the parking brake set again after towing the airplane, so it doesn't start moving without our consent. Turn on the battery and turn off the G5 so we don't drain the battery so fast. Check for the pilot heat. It should be hot. And this is one feature that is present in the Airfoil Labs Cessna 172. It is well modeled, and in this Carenado or Nhadrian Mod for the Carenado Cessna 152, we may check the stall horn. Coming back to the cockpit, let's turn off the pilot heat and the master. We start the walkaround here, and we have to visually check and inspect for scratches, dents, contamination over the wings, which may include ice, snow, or debris. So we make sure that this part of the fuselage is okay. Then we go and check for the elevator and the rudder. By the way, this should move freely if you remove the gas lock. You check for dents and scratches in the leading edge and the trailing edge. You also check for the other part of the fuselage, the flaps, that they are all the hinges and they are good. Same goes for the ailerons, and then you have to check for the integrity of the wheels and tire inflation. Some of these models have a red indication, so you can move the plane and check all the tires. If you have these fairings covering all part of the tire, then ideally you will have to drain some fuel, so you can check for contaminants or water, and then check for the windshield and clean the windshield, so you have you don't have problems with reflections or other kind of visual impairments for the flight. You have to check the oil. You have to have minimum 4 quarts for a short flight, and if you have to go cross country, at least the pilot's operating handbook, it says that you have to have at least 6 quarts. Then you have to check the propeller spinner. You have to check all the propeller that it is good, that it doesn't have any significant dents or at the leading edge. You have to check the spinner, the alternator belt, check also the landing light, tire inflation, the strut, and you continue. You make sure that the static ports are free, nothing blocking them, and you go the same for the wing. So leading edge, general condition. If you are flying at night, you have to check for the landing lights, navigation lights, strobe lights, beacon, and nothing going back. Also the same checks that we perform on the right hand side, we have to perform on this side, and that is what you can do with this plane for a realistic walk around. We'll go inside the cockpit and prepare everything for the flight, including refueling the aircraft. We are ready to refuel the aircraft, and because we don't work for an airline company, we have to make our flight plan. I forgot to mention that this airplane has a working ELT that the Carenado didn't have. One of the many features you will discover in this aircraft. And I was saying that okay, working for an airline gives you the opportunity to have your flight plan, because there is a dispatch office where they make flight plans for the company, obviously, and so airline pilots don't have to make their own flight plans, but we need to do them. And mine, or our flight plan for our trip is has been done using Navigraph and some real flight experience, and we have to put 12 gallons in this Cessna today. The first thing is to open here, and you will have to add the fuel. 12 gallons is 6 gallons each wing, you can see here, and it's okay. It's 1.5 gallons more or less to start the engine, taxi, take off, 1 gallon to climb to cruise altitude, and then 3 gallons to reach destination, and 1 gallon to taxi into the parking, which is a flight school at Trieste airport. We have also 6, okay, and another 6 gallons of reserve, which is more than we need, but it's okay for us today. We are done with the refueling, and I do really like that the developers put the effort to simulate the filler caps and the refueling like in the real aircraft, because simulators are done for that. They were born to teach pilots how to fly, how to learn. It's a learning platform, and this is an extra level of detail that gives you the opportunity to learn a lot. If you were to fly the real aircraft, you already know where to look the first time you see the aircraft to refuel, in this case. So now we are done with the refueling, and we are going again to the cockpit and make the last preparations before starting the engine and go flying. Before we go flying, I just wanted to show you the actual flight plan. We'll be departing from Venice Lido and go to Trieste Airport, Ronchi de Legionari. Venice Lido doesn't have any control tower, it's only a flight information service, so we'll depart VFR and pick up the IFR Clearance in the air and proceed to Papa Quebec 403, which is one point of the start arrival from Chioggia into Trieste Airport. The Cessna 152, it is not the best airplane to do an IFR training, but giving this mod, the Nhadrian Mod, it's great because you have airline capability in a small plane, so you can practice it. It's more suitable for VFR flying. So nothing. Going back to the cockpit and proceed. So before we go, we have to make sure that we have the weight and balance calculated, so we are in balance and not overweight, and also that we have enough runway to depart. Today is not a problem because we have like 2 degrees Celsius, and from the flight briefing we have winds from 240 at 7, so we will be taking off from runway 23 and doing a standard traffic pattern. We have to make sure that we calculate also the 50 feet obstacle, because we have these trees and some buildings behind, and nothing. We can proceed now with the weight and balance. We have the animation of the sunshade here, now that we have the sun coming from the front. And another thing is, if you look here, it looks amazing, like the brake, the caliper, everything is modeled so well, and there are many details in this aircraft that we will be revealing during the flight. To do the weight and balance calculation, we have this configuration sheet, which is it's great because you don't have to do all the number crunching every time, as in real life. You have everything here, so you can add the pilot weight, which is 200 kilos in my case, and open the door for our passenger or the flight instructor. Let's call him Rod, as the as the Flight Simulator X flight instructor Rod Machado. His voice was over in almost all the lessons, or I think all the lessons in that flight simulator. So nothing. We can close the door here, and we have to check that we are balanced, and it's okay because we have this number, which is the center of gravity in the interval. Is not too aft, is not too at the end, backwards, and we have we are almost at maximum takeoff weight for 2 pounds. So if you are overweight, it becomes red. If you are outside of the limits for balance, it also becomes red. You can change from pounds to kilograms, and there are a bunch of options here for basic configuration that we will be exploring once in the air. Then in Italy, we have to call to open the flight plan, and then we will pick the IFR clearance up in the air. And for the takeoff distance calculation, it's more or less 1,500 feet. today, which is good because we have almost 3,000 feet of runway. And nothing, we are good to start, so we can close here. And we have to open the windows, because if not, we will have all the windshield and the windows with visually or moisture. It is simulated, and I will simulate it while in the air, cruising, so we don't waste more time now. And nothing. I will be using X checklist, because I don't like the one which comes with the airplane in the Habitat, but it's up to you. You can use it. So we can start. So we start with the before startup checklist, and our pre-flight inspection is checked and complete. This was our walkaround and all other checks we did. Seat and belts, they're okay, at least. We can check for that. Fuel shut-off valve is on, radios, autopilot, and the equipment, all electrical equipment is off. The iPad is not a problem, the AV tab, because it's standalone powered, is not connected to the aircraft. So, okay, all the circuit breakers are inside. Brakes, test and check, and it's set. And all the fuses were checked. Now, so mixture switch, carburetor heat is cold. We have to prime 3 times and 1 more time because it's cold. Half an inch of throttle. Clear. We go with the beacon lights, and there we go. Okay. We have oil pressure. And everything seems to be good. Because we are in cold temperature, we have to push our engine 1200 RPMs. This is from the pilot operating handbook. And congratulations if you made that far in the video. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and comment if you want me to do shorter flights or any other flights with this aircraft. So you can check everything here. Our oil pressure is okay for now. We have to wait for the oil temperature to rise. Meanwhile, alternator is on and we don't have any more the light, so it's good. We can put the flaps up. And the sound is greatly improved in this mod. So now we can turn on this one. GPS, stand by. Radios. Just transmit from number 2. We could check for the ATIS for a second. So I'm using Active Sky XP. So I want to do decimal.
Charlie 1726 Zulu weather wind 237 at 7 visibility 10 south sky clear temperature 2 dew point -2 QNH 1020 advice on initial contact your information Charlie.
Okay, sure. It's
Lima India Victor
okay. The QNH is 1020 hectopascals. Okay. So now we have the flight plan already. Let's cancel here. Approach is previously loaded, and I have already loaded the flight plan here. So Lima India Papa Victor, Lima India Papa Quebec, and it's okay. We have some issues with the ARAC, not updated. Okay, should be fine. Now with the charts. So let's build up the checklist for now. It's airports from Lima India Papa Victor. We are going to take off from 23, so it's 3,263 feet, and the elevation is 13 feet. We are not so okay. We'll see then as we approach runway 23. Okay. So only one shot here. We are parked here, and we are going to do a backtrack, take off this way. Okay. As you can see, this is lead information, so this is the frequency I should put here. Here if we are transmitting in income 1, but we will be using the explain built-in ATC, which is not so precise, but for an IFR flight, okay, we can use it, okay. So now we can start moving and prepare ourselves for the Runup. So it's clear from the right, no one in front. And release the parking brake. Test it. Go. This airport, the ground floor is not so well simulated, or the friction I should say. Before we enter the runway, we will do the Runup. We have to keep an eye temperature. So the parking brake here. So sounds are amazing in this aircraft, so you can hear the difference between open and close. Let's close this one. Okay, so parking brake is set, doors and windows are closed and latched, flight controls free and checked. Flight instruments are set. We have to check only for the heading bag. Runway 23. Just the heading. 232. So it's okay. We can put ready the GPS. Feature of golf, which is down here. It's on. So you can see now I closed the windows, okay, and it started to get moisture in the windshield. So you have to put on the cabin air and get rid of it. So make sure it's reach, elevator crane is take off, yes. Throttle, make sure that no one is behind. 1700. And check for the magnetos. So left. More or less 50 RPMs. Dropping right. No, it's okay. Suction is good. Carburetor heat. It's okay. Ammeter is okay. No lights here. So this is checked. Radios are set. We have to go for the nav lights. Strobe lights. Throttle friction lock, we cannot adjust it here. If we put it to idle, it doesn't quit, so it's okay. So before we enter the runway, I will put my headphones, and you may notice the difference between the sound without it and with it. And so nothing. At this point, we will take advice from the Flight Information Service, and now one from the left, no one from the right. We can put the transponder on. And let's enter the runway. We would take advice from in real life from Flight Information Service, which tells you if you have some traffic coming to the airport, and it's good because you have to, you don't have to comply to them or to their instructions, but it is better if you do. Then so flight controls before. Just because we have some wind coming from 237 at 7, we have to make sure that we have the correct control input while taxiing. And we may proceed to do our takeoff briefing, or the departure briefing, which will be our runway length, which is 3,200 and something. And the required length for us, or for our takeoff today, is 1,550. I think I computed that. And hazards in takeoff, we have some birds on the vicinity. By the way, this aircraft is like the Airfoil Labs Cessna 172, which has the bird strike simulation. I don't know how to demonstrate it in this aircraft, but I will investigate and post a video about it. Then, okay, we will keep an eye on the birds, and we are going to do a rolling takeoff because we are on grass, so we protect our propeller, so we won't be standing on our brakes. Just apply full power and go. Then, if we notice something that is not going well with the engine or the acceleration or everything else that is not convincing, we will abort the takeoff. If we lose the engine before rotation, we will abort the takeoff, so apply brakes, cut the mixture, and we will see the procedure on the checklist. So we are reaching the end of the runway. Okay, let's apply some brakes, and now now the control input is on the other way. Okay, so this is the emergency procedure. So if we have a failure during takeoff run, throttle goes to idle, we apply brakes, we retract the flaps, and the mixture goes to cut off. The magneto switch is off and the master switch will be off, and obviously we have to advise the flight information service. Failure after takeoff, we go for a speed for best glide if we have the altitude, and we take where it comes. In this case, it is better to go to the left, which is the sea, and try to ditch the aircraft. So before we take off, let's go for the before takeoff checklist. So takeoff control friction is checked, we already did it. Seat belts and harness is checked, doors and windows are closed, flaps are 10 degrees, we'll check for that. Okay, selected and indicating 10. Then carburetor heat is off, transponder is already on 7000 because we are departing VFR and then picking up the IFR clearance up in the air. Okay, landing light, we have to pilot hit, strobe lights, landing lights, radio hit, indicator. So 231, it's okay. And takeoff time is 14:34. Okay, we can put our sunglasses, which are not polarized because I can see all the displays, and we should take note of our time because I don't trust my my fuel gauges. So I think we are good to go, and apply power, go. So our 110 horsepower at work, and we are battling with right rudder, the P effect, torque, corkscrew 50. We can lift up the nose, everything is good. Oil pressure, tachometer. At your right you may see Venice, the city, and we are going to do our circuit pattern starting now. Pitching for 70, and as soon as we reach 400 feet we can retract the flaps. 400 feet. Flaps up. And we may contact okay, if we were flying VFR, our first reporting point would be this on the left, but we are not flying VFR, so we'll contact now the approach. And this is the famous Mose, which is a barrier to keep Venice from the floods. So let's go with the help of the autopilot for a second. Autopilot. So we have to contact 135.
737 to 800. 6 November. 737 to 800. 6 November. Fly heading 040. Fly heading 040. 737 to 800. 6 November. 152 Juliet Oscar November. Venice Tetra. Altimeter 3011.
Okay, 3011 is for us.
Juliet Oscar November. Clear IFR 2. Rocky Legionari as filed. Maintain 6000. Squawk 4700.
Okay, so 4700 on the box.
As filed. Maintain 6000. Squawk 4700. 152 Juliet Oscar November.
And we are clear to climb to 6,000 feet. So we can put it here in the Garmin G5. We are climbing a little bit faster.
152 Juliet Oscar November. Fly heading 080.
Okay, so we have 080 on the heading.
Fly heading 080. 152 Juliet Oscar November.
This airplane flies, they like to fly manually. I'm getting help from the autopilot now, so I can show you all the features of this aircraft. Maybe we are going to be vectored to Trieste, Ronchi de Legionari, which we'll see then, because we planned for this route here, but maybe if the winds are from 270 from the west, they will change the runway, so we will get vectored. Now, so we're going with the checklist for Enroute climb. So throttle is full open. Airspeed, we have more than 80 knots now, which is good for the airflow inside the cooling the engine. Okay, so this is check, and we have to lean the mixture as soon as we reach 3,000 feet, which is now. Okay. Entering some clouds here. And our temperature is going below, so we can go with cabin heat. This is X-Europe, by the way. I'm flying with it, and some photoreal scenery or orthophotos. It's not photoreal, but orthophotos, and it is good for VFR flying because all of the VFR reporting points are available here. This is one of those, which is Jesolo. Nothing. We are looking at this mod, which is hybrid. It is strange because you buy the actual Carenado Cessna 152, which is payware, and then you have this excellent mod for free that gives you at least 3 types of or 3 variants of this Cessna 152. This one is the first, which is I call it the normal version. Okay, and you have a ton of options to change not only the liveries but also the avionics. As you can see here, I'm using the latest Garmin G5. And you can use the classic Avionics. The G5 is also available for the Cessna 172, the default aircraft in the default Cessna in X-Plane 11, and it is available from AFM, Advanced Flight Modeling, and I mentioned it in my video about the Cessna 172 mods, but you can try it here. It's not the AFM, but it's great. This one is great for me. And okay, let's take a look. 4,500. I need to more. Okay, our flight instructor is not saying anything, so maybe he's going back for me. I'm talking too much. And I was saying that this is like a complete overhaul of the Cessna, of the Carenado Cessna 152. The flight dynamics, it feels really different, okay? And this aircraft is certified for spin, so if you try to spin it or you do a high power or a power on stall, it is like the real thing. I will try to do a video and post it, because I don't want to spin the aircraft now. But I think Sim Coders, which are the creator of the the reality expansion pack, they help the guys over Nhadrian and the team to get the real flight dynamics into this mod, and it's great because they have a great level of expertise in this one, like tweaking the aircraft for the real flight dynamics, and you can feel it. Then I want to show you. I talked about that you get 3 variants. The first one is this one, with different avionics. You can put different colors inside. And if you select the aerobatics, the aerobatic version, you can have your ceiling with the roof windows. Then you can have your glass humidity effect. If you don't want it, you can just uncheck it. You have the window reflections. I think they did it because if your hardware is not enough to run this aircraft, at least you can save some frames.
737 to 800, 6, November.
Then, if we look outside, you can see that you have an exhaust muffler here. You can
737 to 800, 6, November. Climb and maintain, flight level 360. Climb and maintain, flight level 360. 737 to 800, 6, November.
Whoops, talking 200. My multitasking is not good, as you can see. Coming down, we have to check for the red line. Okay, I was saying that you have the exhaust silencer or the muffler, and it is not only cosmetic, it works. You will notice a drop in the RPMs, and the engine becomes more the RPMs are like slowly getting up or rising after you put it, and you get also a difference in the total weight of the airplane, as you can see now. So if I put this one like this, you don't see it anymore. Okay, then altitude. Then you have the Garmin G5 replica, okay, or the classic Avionics. The G5, you can put a floating windows if you have a home cockpit or something else, or you just want to undock this window. You can do it. You have this option here. Then the wheel fairings, the same. You have the weight of the airplane is affected. Also the performance, and you have done this. So then realistic nose wheel steering. This one gives you the feeling that you are taxiing the real aircraft. The nose wheel comes back. It's like dampening. I don't know how to describe it, but it's difficult to taxi at slower speeds if you activate this realistic nose wheel steering. Then you have the opportunity to put the GNS 430 if you want. I don't have it because I don't have the Reality XP GNS 430. The same goes for the 550. The 650. So I'm using only the 530. This one I have to excuse me.
152, Juliet, Oscar, November, fly heading 350.
So 350 for
X-ray, Sierra, fly heading 050. Fly heading 050, 3 X-ray, Sierra. 152, Juliet, Oscar, November, fly heading 350.
Fly heading 350, 152 Juliet, Oscar, November.
we are being vectored. Okay. So where I was at. Okay, the strobe lights. You have the option to put, or from what I understood, there are some Cessnas 152 that doesn't have the strobe lights. Then you have the AV tab, the iPad replica, which for me is really good because I have all the charts connected with Navigraph, so we can search now for the arrival airport, which is Papa Quebec. And we can put now, as soon as they give us the approach, we can see the charts. This one is really useful.
152, Juliet, Oscar, November, fly heading 070. Vectors for visual, runway 27, descend and maintain 5,000.
So we have to descend to 5,000 now. 070.
Fly heading 070. Vectors for visual, runway 27, descend and maintain 5,152 Juliet, Oscar, November.
152, Juliet, Oscar, November, descend and maintain 5,000.
Descend and maintain 5,152 Juliet, Oscar, November.
Okay. So I was saying that it is really, for me, it's useful because you have everything you want here for the flight. I mean, you can have your maps if you want to see the aircraft flying inside the map. You can have all the manuals here. So you have the pilot's operating handbook of the airplane in PDF. You can have also notes, so if you want to like take note of the clearance, or let's check for 5,000, or put the frequencies, you can do it. And let's check. And it's useful. Another thing you have is the flight computer. It's more or less like an A6B, and it's fully working. So you can have this. And you have this overhead with all the information like heading, pressure, actual temperature, wind directional speed, and okay, altitude. And so you have quite a lot of options within the aircraft. Another one that Thunder tries, and now we have we are overweight. But you get the Thunder tires if you want to operate the aircraft from Bush fields. I have to take those off. And which other things? Now we have been vectored, as I told you before, because we are not going for the runway 9. We are going to do the runway 27, landing on runway 27. It doesn't have any ILS or anything else. I have to accelerate a bit. So now we can try to check the ATIS on arrival. Because I'm using Active Sky XP, I can put 122.025 and it will work for us.
Lima, India, Papa, Quebec, airport information, Charlie, 1726, Zulu, weather, wind 237 at 7, visibility 10,000, sky condition, few clouds at 2,000, temperature 2, dew point -2, QNH 1020, advise on initial contact, you have information, Charlie.
So we have information, Charlie. The winds are the
Lima.
same as on the departure. We can check for the charts here. So
Center 737 to 800, 6, November. 737 to 800, 6, November. Tobacco, altimeter 3012. Tobacco, altimeter 3012. 737 to 800, 6, November. 737 to 800, 6, November. Fly heading 360. Fly heading 360. 737 to 800, 6, November.
so for the landing,
737 to 800, 6, November. Fly heading 040. Fly heading 040. 737 to 800, 6, November.
we are going to be landing from runway 27. Elevation is 36 feet, and if we make it, we can exit from Bravo and go to Golf 2, which is the parking stand of the flight school. Okay. Then we're not going to use any more GPS, so we can change this one for okay. I'm passing now 04243 radial to Ronchi. And other things to mention is if we hide this and you are not using the X camera, you have the action cam here and here, and inside the configuration you can have all these views, which is dash cam, the wing cam, the view from the rear. Let's just jump off or turn off for a second. X camera, disable, like you can go for dash cam, which is this one. activate again the X camera. I use X camera because for me it's the best way to get all my cameras working, to set most of the cameras, and it is integrated with head shake, which gives you more immersion. So another thing, you can, for example, I said that I don't trust the fuel gauges, so you can put INOP and just make sure that you are checking the time. If not, you can, in any other instrument, if you are training, you can put that or simulate whatever you want. What other things I can show you from this aircraft? Let me check. I spoke with sim coders, or I asked them, and they kindly replied. I asked them if they were working on a release of a reality expansion pack for this airplane. They said no. I think it's the only thing missing in this airplane to be perfect. The persistency of the aircraft in the reality expansion package should be great to have it. You could train with this aircraft and use it for training without any problems. Okay, this is another VFR reporting point, which is Grado, but we are not flying VFR today, so it's only for information. Now, got to turn off the landing light and showing the aircraft. By the way, this is my second video. I'm not so comfortable speaking in English. I'm mother tongue Italian, and it is difficult for me. I have to think before expressing myself. I hope you are at least extracting something useful from this video, and nothing, comment or like, dislike. If you dislike, please tell me what you just a second. So I was saying that if you dislike the video, just tell me why, and I I will try to improve it. That's the only way to grow up and to learn. So
3, X-ray, Sierra, resume on navigation. Resume on navigation, 3, X-ray, Sierra.
ATC should give us some vectors to the left now, because we are near the border with Slovenia, and this is I tried to
Oscar, November, flight heading 090, descend and maintain
090
2000.
on
Flight
2000.
heading 090. Descend and maintain 2152 Juliet Oscar, November.
I was saying that ATC, the default ATC in X-Plane, it's functional for IFR flight, but it's not. The phraseology is not the aeronautical phraseology in most cases, and it doesn't work well sometimes. So there are many options to improve this, but I didn't until now
737 to
test them.
806, November. 737 to 806, November. Rebecca, altimeter 3012. Rebecca, altimeter 3012. 737 to 806, November.
Another thing, noise cancelling. It's good if you are doing cross-country flights with this airplane. Engine rumble is sometimes annoying if you are flying long with this aircraft.
152, Juliet, Oscar, November, Quebec, altimeter 3012.
Quebec, altimeter
3012
301,
for us.
152 Juliet Oscar, November.
flight is already longer than we expected or that we planned because we are being vectored. And this is Trieste city. So below 3000 to make sure it's full reach. Let's prepare at least the frequency. Just 130 decimal 2. This tower. didn't notice that we have the action cam also outside the aircraft. Nice detail. So 270 and we have the field in sight.
Flight heading 270, report the field site 152 Juliet Oscar, November. Center 152 Juliet Oscar, November.
737 to 806, November, fly heading 150. Fly heading 150, 737 to 806, November. 152, Juliet, Oscar, November, clear visual approach, runway 27, contact tower on 130.20.
Clear visual approach, runway 27, contact tower on 130.20, 152 Juliet Oscar, November. Tower 152 Juliet Oscar, November.
So we can disconnect the autopilot. This is a Cessna 152 from brought to the 21st century with autopilot and glass cockpit and everything else. It's challenging without this avionics, but you learn a little bit more. So carburetor hit on. Tower doesn't answer us, so we'll continue. And I hope they clear us to land.
152, Juliet, Oscar, November, runway 27, you're clear to land.
There it is. We're clear to land.
Runway 27, 152, Juliet, Oscar, November.
So 27, it's okay. Landing light is on. You are high. Oh. We are below 85, so first notch of flaps can go. The second notch as well. And we are trying to exit from taxiway Bravo, so full flaps. A little bit of wind. Floating, and that's it.
152, Juliet, Oscar, November, gate, taxi via 27.
And we made it to Bravo. Not difficult.
3, X-ray, Sierra, cleared IFR 2, Rimming Renair, as filed, maintain 14,000, squawk 4702. Cleared IFR 2, Rimming Renair, as filed, maintain 14,000, squawk 47023, X-ray.
Okay, strobe lights. Clear to the right, to the left here. We should contact ground, but it is not available here, so I'm ignoring the ATC now because I have to park here, or I want to park there, so I can put the carburetor hit. Transponder off. We didn't do any arrival briefing, which is missing in this flight. And we are now arriving here. Can put open. Okay, we made it. I think the instructor is not so happy, but at least we are in one piece. So parking brake is set. Now radios and all electrical equipment must go off, so transponder is off, GPS, EME, these two also, landing light can go off, nav lights can go off, pilot head can go off. Now we don't need any more cabin air or cabin heat. We have the windows open, and so we can disconnect our headsets. Mixer is off. Master switch is off. And that's it for us today. I hope you like it, and tell me if you want to see another flight like this with this aircraft.